Hi, welcome to The Conversation. I'm your host, Tiffany Smith. We've got a great show for you tonight. We have 3 members of the play The Taming on to reflect about their play, as well as 2 representatives from S.U.P.E.R, the Students United for Palestinian Equal Rights, coming on to talk about their upcoming event. But first, we sat down with the ASOSU president and vice president-elect to talk about what's next for them now that they've been chosen to lead ASOSU. Stay tuned. Well, welcome to The Conversation, Justin and Aiden. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Awesome. So with you guys just winning the ASOSU presidential election, I'd love to talk about your campaign and all of the plans you have for the coming year. So now that you've been elected, what are your plans and what are your goals between now and inauguration?
Yeah, great question. So moving forward, we're really going to be focusing these next couple of months on building our cabinet. So that means like the entire current cabinet was hired by the previous administration, the current administration. And so we're going to be going through hiring processes, and we're also going to be creating positions. We're going to take a look currently at the positions available in ASOSU and evaluate which positions we want to continue into the next year, and also which positions we feel we could create or maybe even eliminate, consolidate in a way.
We'll also just be working on general transitioning. There's like a lot of information we need to acclimate ourselves to within the next few weeks. So just like really making sure we understand it all.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty quick timeline actually. One of the reasons we moved the election up this year so much was that we really want to be able to build a staff now before summer hits. So we're hoping to have our entire cabinet decided before the start of summer, before June 1st, which is when inauguration will happen. So moving forward, we're going to be really setting the groundwork for that for the most part.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So with having your cabinet hopefully being set before summer, do you guys have any plans for or goals for summer before the next fiscal year begins?
Yeah.
I don't know, like,
go ahead.
What really do we have planned in regards to summer? So we met with Drew Desolate today for about an hour. We're really trying to outline like the beginnings of our campaign, or not our campaign, but like our administration.
Yeah.
And so like, I guess before summer, we're going to be like meeting a lot and making sure we have like all these dates outlined and like an actual cohesive timeline and everything.
Right,
and then when like summer comes around, we'll be figuring out like who we'll need to like be in the ASOSU office working with us. And then what tasks we want to accomplish. So.
And for the most part, so although this is a transition time currently during the school year, the summertime is also when we really evaluate what we ran on and what our campaign was really focused on. And the summer is the time when we can really think about moving into the school year, how exactly we're going to accomplish that. So over these next couple of months and then moving into the summer, we're going to be evaluating specifically what our goals were within our campaign, what our values were within that campaign, and then we're going to find ways to implement them. And so that's pretty much what we'll be focusing on the summer, but then in the school year we'll actually be able to make some of that happen, hopefully.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. So obviously you guys talked about all of your platforms and your goals during the ASOSU debate that we hosted here at OMN. But for those that didn't view and that are viewing right now, would you like to kind of reiterate what your platforms are and your biggest goals?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'll go ahead and start. So we ran mainly on our slogan was OS United, and one of the things we really wanted to focus on is it's really easy sometimes to just create a slogan, something catchy that rhymes or something, but we actually really want to embody our slogan. That was really important to Aiden and me. And so we ran on 4 major pillars associated with our platform, and so I'll just briefly cover the first 2. The first one was tuition affordability and fiscal responsibility. Since we know, I actually got to participate in a survey this last year where we surveyed over 4,500 students on our campus, and then it was also conducted at the state level. So across all demographics and across all groups of students, we found that the #1 concern for students always comes back to tuition affordability. Excuse me. And so as ASOSU, we really feel that it's important to be focusing on tuition affordability for all students. That also means that we will continue to apply pressure at the state legislature. Actually, it's really important this next year. We will be moving into the long session, which is actually the year when they set the budget for the next 2 years.
Gotcha.
And that means that's when they'll actually decide how much money gets allocated to higher education in general. We also want to be applying a lot of pressure to the Board of Trustees. A lot of students don't understand who the Board of Trustees is and what exactly they do for the university. There's a lot of misconceptions about them. A lot of people think that the board is, they have a stake in the university, that they actually get paid for their positions. It's actually a public service. They don't get paid paid for it. But they
didn't even know that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, exactly. But they do end up setting tuition every single year, and so we need to be having ongoing dialogues and conversations with them. Then we also really want to focus on transparency and accountability. As any administration can say and can attest to, one of the most important things that you can be doing is making sure that you're keeping students in the loop. And that's something that we really ran on, was we really want to make sure that we're outreaching to as many student groups and organizations. And one of the things that we actually saw this year, and through these past 3 weeks in campaigning, was how easy it is to reach out to these different organizations, and how, like, right, and I'm sure you would attest to this, right? Like, how easy and how excited a lot of organizations are to have you come speak. So moving forward, we want to make sure that we're visiting all the cultural centers. We want to make sure that we're going to Greek Life, Panhellenic, and IFC, and make sure all of those types of groups that we're letting them know, one, what's going on, but then the improvements that can continually be made with those organizations.
So our next pillar was diversity and inclusion. Okay. And so we really wanted to make it a point to visit all 7 cultural centers at least one time every single term that we're in office.
Gotcha.
Really just like opening up conversations between the like actual officers of ASOSU and people that we're elected to serve, right?
Yeah.
We also want to focus on mental health and wellness. And so just like mental health and wellness and like just, being mentally well is absolutely essential for collegiate success. And so just like the better you're feeling, oftentimes that translates to performing better academically. And so like really like breaking down stigmas associated to conversations regarding mental health could potentially do like great wonders on the academic success of a lot of students who go here. So really just like, in terms of like diversity and inclusion, making sure everybody is included in our conversations, considering the fact that like Oregon State doesn't work unless it's working for everyone. That's something that we like mentioned in our debate. And then really just breaking down stigmas associated to like talking about mental health and wellness, because that's integral for collegiate success.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that all sounds wonderful. Definitely, I love the transparency part, really putting yourself out there as two human beings that are approachable rather than locked up in the ASOSU offices.
Well, and that's one of the things, is a lot of students don't even necessarily know where the ASOSU office space is. SEC 250, by the way. But yeah, shameless plug. But yeah, a lot of people don't actually know that space. So we actually want to make that space a lot more inviting. And one of the things we're also considering piloting it's an idea where we have, it's called like constituents and coffee. Actually, like lots of legislators do it. Actually, they have the chance where you get to come and speak with the legislator and have coffee at like a coffee shop. It's kind of an intimate setting. And we want to kind of open up the ASOSU office space in a similar way.
Awesome.
So allowing students to be aware that, like come and have coffee, but also just get to meet people in ASOSU. And we think that would break down a lot of barriers, hopefully.
Definitely. So like recently we heard that the ASOSU office was getting new furniture. And like initially we were a little upset about this because it seemed so wasteful. Like why would you get rid of furniture that works perfectly fine, right? And so like finally when the furniture arrived, we realized they weren't replacing furniture. In fact, they were adding furniture. So there's like more room essentially for people to come and like spend time with the officers elected into ASOSU, right?
That's fantastic.
And so this like constituents and coffee idea can really come to fruition because now we have more like comfortable room for everybody to come like share a space.
Awesome.
So, so like this year there should be like more room for people to come and like enjoy the ASOSU office. So
that's wonderful. So kind of going back to your pillar about mental health and wellness, since there are so many different organizations on campus, from counseling and psychological services to the Survivor Advocacy and Resource Center and even Active Minds within CAPS, are you planning on working with outreach with different organizations to push your pillars and to reach success with your goals?
Definitely.
Definitely. And Aiden touched a little bit on this, but one of the things that's been piloted this year, and we'd like to really continue into the next year, unfortunately it hasn't happened yet this year, and so if it doesn't, we'd like to make sure that it does next year, is we want to put suicide awareness hotline numbers as well as sexual assault awareness hotline numbers on the back of student IDs. There's precedent for it. It's been done at other universities, and it's worked pretty well. But currently, there aren't really many things on the back of our IDs. There is a number for safety.
Like no useful information.
Exactly, really. Right. And so that was actually an issue that was being looked at through Active Minds. In the current administration, although nothing's really happened with it yet, so we want to make sure that if that gets dropped off, that we really want to focus on it in this next year. That we think that's really one of the things about mental health is making mental health resources accessible to people.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, unfortunately, CAPS has moved out of the student fee process now, so we don't actually set the student fees for them. But it is really, it's really quite clear that we need to be making sure that CAPS itself is advertised. It's also clear that CAPS really needs a lot of support. I mean, they requested a 9% increase this year, which is really evidence that a lot of students are struggling with mental health issues and also just need some added support. So I think it's ASOSU's role. Perhaps we don't have control of that money there. It is our role, though, to be supporting those students, I think, moving forward.
Definitely. And, like, looking at programs on this university and other, like, campuses that have worked, then, like, doubling down, like, you know, further continuing, like, those efforts and programs. Right. That's something that we would like to do. So when it comes to, like, the matter of ID cards, like putting sexual assault response hotline phone numbers and, like, suicide prevention hotline phone numbers on the back of student IDs, those are, like, conversations that have already been had. So, like, really just, like, understanding what ideas are already out there and then really just, like, continuing and trying to, like, make sure they become a reality.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and that's something that actually is a really big issue sometimes within ASOSU is that an administration will come in, all these new people get hired. I mean, everything is brand new, and sometimes what happens is knowledge from the past gets lost a lot of the time. So we really want to make sure that this institutional knowledge from this year is passed on to our administration, and then us, within our administration, we want to make sure that the knowledge we obtain is passed on to the next administration.
Definitely.
And that's really important to us.
Like passing a baton in a relay.
Right, exactly.
Great metaphor.
Yeah. Exactly. Like really just like making sure we have a lot of information that's useful for the next administration. You know? It's never like too early to start thinking about that sort of thing. We're only going to be in office for a year, and something tells me that year is going to go by really quickly.
Really fast.
Oh, I believe it.
Like, already, like time has been moving very fast this year.
Oh my gosh, I
bet.
bet.
We started these conversations in regards to running like fall term, and that feels like just
right.
days ago,
I know,
you know?
it's so strange.
But,
I know.
Yeah. It's been happening very fast. So.
Yeah.
Right on. So switching gears here a little bit. So your ticket, in comparison to the other 3 tickets within this past election, you guys all kind of expressed some similarities in your pillars within your platform, but there were a lot of differences. So do you have plans to work with the other tickets moving forward and to kind of take on some of their ideas and work in collaboration with them?
We've been in contact to some degree with every ticket.
Okay.
I think like fundamentally we all have like the same values and ideas because we notice the same issues on campus. And so that really makes the people that we ran against, or not even ran against, but ran with, right? Like, it really makes them like more of a resource than it does like something that we have to cut off after winning. So it's like there's a lot of valuable information that we could get from the other tickets that we fully intend to utilize. So it's for the greater good of the students. So
I agree. And I think that's a really good way to phrase it, is ran with instead of ran against. Like, I think that's really, really smart and intuitive, actually. Just because the other tickets had a lot of, I mean, almost every single ticket, I want to say, had transparency and accountability as a main pillar of their platform. And also, for the most part, when it's really interesting, I think you can even look at the debate. In the debate, a lot of us aren't arguing with each other. A lot of the times we're actually reinforcing really similar values, right? Like, we're not like, it's not that cutthroat where we're all like at each other's throats and saying, oh, you're wrong, like you shouldn't say that. A lot of the time it's reinforcing a lot of the same values. And so we know that there's a lot to gain from having conversations and continuing dialogues with a lot of those past tickets as well.
Yeah, like fundamentally we're all on the same page.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
There's like differences here and there, but like as a whole we're pretty much in agreement.
Yeah, now we just need to figure out a way to implement them.
To really work on that collaboration.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So I'm curious, are there any topics that you maybe didn't get to talk about during the debate that you'd like to talk about now today for our viewers?
Yeah, good question.
Well, like one thing I would like to say in regards to the debate, I personally wish there was like time for rebuttal.
Yeah, I
mean, I know that doesn't address your question, but like I really do wish it was like more like a formal debate, right? Because to some degree, I think that's what we were like expecting.
I think so.
It felt more like an interview than it did a debate.
That makes sense.
But we really got to touch on all 4 of our pillars, which was really good. We didn't like really leave any like major information out.
Right. And that comes back to a lot, you know, I mean, one of our major pillars was transparency and accountability. And I think it's a great question that you're asking, but I also think we really tried to show ourselves for the most part in those 3 weeks. You know, we really tried to kind of say this is who we are and really make it really clear and transparent. So hopefully moving forward, the things that we've said, we really want to be able to follow through on, obviously. And we really hope that we'll be able to implement a lot of the changes that we wanted to.
Definitely. And then to like more directly answer your question, I think something that could have been touched on would be like maybe a question in regards to like what is a major issue on campus that isn't commonly talked about? In that case, we potentially could have even brought up graduation rates.
Right, yeah.
Because there's a lot of issues on campus that people are aware of, yet for whatever reason, no conversations are being had in regards to these issues.
It's kind of put on the back burner.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on the conversation.
Of course.
It's been amazing talking with you guys.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have more conversations with you later on. Definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We are going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with our next guest. Hello, welcome back to the conversation. We have with us today PJ Harris, Alessandra Fariso, and Mike Stevens. You guys, welcome to the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So if we could just begin with you guys introducing yourself and kind of explain your affiliation and roles with the play The Taming.
My name is PJ Harris. I am the student director of The Taming.
Awesome.
My name is Alessandra Fariso, and I was an actress in the show. I played the role of Bianca.
And my name is Mike Stevens, and I was the stage manager in The Taming.
Right on. So PJ, as a director, could you give our viewers at home a brief synopsis of what the play was all about?
So the play, at its most simplest, is about 3 women, 2 of which wake up trapped in a hotel room. One is a hardcore conservative senator's aide. The other is a hardcore liberal blogger. And they wake up that they have both slept together, but they don't remember it. Turns out that they were drugged and locked in there by Miss Georgia, who is a beauty queen who is running on the platform of rewriting the Constitution, and trap them in there to get her to help them.
Oh, wow. So as a director, how did you kind of put your own spin on things, and were there any particular messages you wanted to portray through this production?
So I'm not a very patriotic person. I'm not all, oh, go America. And so when I was handed this play by my professors, it was a bit of a letdown. I thought it was going to be a long couple months, but then I started to think about how I could turn it. I was listening to the song Diamond Heart by Lady Gaga, and the lyrics, I may not be flawless, but I've got a diamond heart. And so I wanted to focus on getting at the diamond heart of the center of this play, what we can critique and what we can fix, and also diamonds are made under pressure. So I was going to put pressure on that baby.
I love it. Alessandra, so you were one of the 3 women that were part of this cast, such a simple cast. I'm curious, what drove you to audition for this and ultimately be a part of the production?
Yeah, so I read the script before auditions, and I really loved the writing. I thought the humor was fantastic and witty and hilarious, and it's a really unique thing to be involved in such a small production with a cast of 3, and so I was really hoping to be able to participate in that unique dynamic and get close with some other girls in the theater community.
Awesome. Was there anything that you did before production to kind of get into the role?
Yeah, so my character was very loud and very physical, and so I really had to work on being loud and being that extreme before doing that, and then also I ended up getting surgery about 3 weeks before the production on my appendix. And so I had to learn how to kind of navigate the physical demands of my character while still
healing.
Yeah. So that was a really interesting thing to work through in preparation for my character.
Wow, that is intense. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Mike, I'm curious, as the stage manager, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, especially with such a small amount of people working on this production?
I am not a particularly organized person, and so the massive organizational aspect to it was a big challenge, and also just kind of providing or being the go-between between PJ, interpreting what she was saying to me and turning that into what needed to go to our production team so we could have props and the set, et cetera, and just writing a ton and a ton and a ton again of emails. I probably sent more emails in the last 2 months than I have in the last 2 years of my life.
Wow, that's a lot of emails. Oh my goodness. So I'm curious, what was the most memorable thing that happened while you guys were doing this production?
So during opening night, we had an incident. The play, they're trapped in the room, and so they're yelling, "Let us out," banging on the door. But the thing is, due to our space, we had to use the physical door that leads outside in the alleyway. And so, it's really not locked. Anyone could get out, but you can't get in because it's building safety. It's locked from the outside.
Right, yeah.
And so some passersby were walking through the alleyway and heard, "Let us out!" Women shouting and begging to be let out.
Oh my gosh.
And so they, tried to rescue my actors. And they didn't just try the door. They were like, bang, bang, bang. And I swear I blacked out for 5 minutes because I don't remember anything that happened just from pure anxiety. This is it. The show's over.
Yeah,
They're going to call
I thought
the
I
police.
hallucinated it. It was,
Yeah.
it was a little wild.
surreal.
Well, especially on opening night. You're
Yeah.
first time, really setting the tone of the whole thing.
Yeah, luckily with the plot later it worked. They thought we had planned it.
wow.
You'd be surprised what an audience can believe if everyone acts like it was supposed to happen.
Very true. Wow.
We put a sign later.
You're like, don't worry.
Don't worry about let us out.
actually
Sign it
trapped.
down. It said, "Please disregard all screaming and yelling of 'let us out.'"
Yes.
Just keep walking. I love it.
So.
That's great. Wow. So I'm curious, do you guys have future plans? Do each of you have any further productions you guys are going to be a part of or working on? What are your guys' plans?
So as for theater at OSU in general, our next play, Rhinoceros by Eugene Ionesco, opens Thursday, March 1st. Student tickets are $5, and if you would like to learn more, check out OSU Theater on Facebook. Rhinoceros runs for the next couple weeks, and then we also have auditions for our spring play, 1984, on March 4th and 5th. And all of that is at the Withacombe Lab Theater.
Yes.
Or, sorry, Main Stage Theater, excuse me.
Main station.
And
Got it.
Withacombe is next to Linus Pauling Science Center. Most people don't know that.
Yes.
That's very true. It's pretty far out there.
It's
We're aware.
it's the theater and animal sciences buildings. So.
Right on. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have today. So thank you guys so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned. After the break, we are going to sit down with 2 representatives from S.U.P.E.R, the Students United for Palestinian Equal Rights. They're coming on to talk about their upcoming event, Decolonial Justice for Palestine and Beyond. Welcome back. Today we've brought into the studio the Students United for Palestinian Equal Rights. Let's begin with you guys just introducing yourself and your roles within the club.
Yeah, thanks. So my name is Azim. I'm a member of the Students United for Palestinian Equal Rights. And I say member because we're a horizontal structure group. So we don't have any presidents or vice presidents. It's very, leadership is diffused. So I'm a member.
Yeah.
And I'm Jason Phillips, and I'm a member as well, as Azim explained the structure of the group.
Awesome, right on. So today we're going to be talking about your guys' upcoming event on March 2nd and 3rd, celebrating resistance, decolonial justice for Palestine and beyond. Can you guys kind of talk about how this event was thought of and created, and how you're actually bringing it to fruition?
Yeah, so we came up with the idea for the conference during the summer, and we're trying to like figure out how to link the struggles to the Palestinian struggles. And we reached out to a lot of different groups like MECHA, the APCC, all of the other cultural resource centers on campus
awesome.
to bring them this idea, and they all wanted to be a part of it. And I think Jason can expand more on it as well.
And so the intention for the event was really because in the US and especially at OSU, people are not necessarily aware of like the Palestinian struggle and the atrocities that are committed against the Palestinian people. And so our intention was really to highlight the atrocities, but also the resistance part of it. Because oftentimes that's not so much talked about. And so it's really about highlighting how the resistance is practiced and connecting it to other struggles here in the US.
Gotcha. Yeah. Wow, awesome. So during your 2-day event, you guys are going to have keynote speakers each day. Can you guys kind of go over the process of how you determined who was going to be the keynote speaker on each day and what you're hoping to get out of them speaking?
Yeah, so the conference itself, we're trying to highlight like art and resistance.
Okay.
So the first night we have Nancy Mansour, who is a filmmaker based in Palestine, and she also manages a few hip-hop artists.
That's
so
really
she
cool.
manages to take like hip-hop artists from the UK and the US and do shows out in Palestine. So we're able to bring her for our first night, and Jason will speak a little bit about our second keynote.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Saturday, which we're starting at 12 o'clock, our keynote is Abby Martin, and she's actually a journalist, and she studied political science. And so she very much has the insight of like the U.S. perspective on like the U.S. involvement in like the Palestinian struggle, etc.
Gotcha. And how did you guys come across these keynote speakers, and how did you choose them?
Yeah, so Nancy Mansour's sister is Shadia Mansour, who's this huge like international Arab hip hop artist.
Oh wow.
So the plan was to have her with Nancy Mansour, but a couple things happened with like immigration stuff. So unfortunately we weren't able to bring Shadia. But that's how I came across Nancy Mansour. And Abby Martin, I'm from Los Angeles, California, and like I've been organizing with her for a little bit, so like we're just like homies.
Yeah.
So we essentially just like try to bring her
awesome.
up because she has like this amazing insight. So that's how we got our keynotes.
Right on.
Yeah.
So the event is very art focused. So I'm just curious, why did you guys decide to focus this around art? I noticed on your Facebook event you said that there's going to be a lot of different types of performances and a lot of different artists coming in. Why did you choose to go that route?
Well, so part of why we chose the art is, again, connecting to the intention of the whole event. Because the Palestinian culture is very much thriving. And oftentimes, you know, as I said, that's not necessarily portrayed as such in the media and other outlets. So the art, especially the art as activism, is very much to highlight the Palestinian culture.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a really awesome event. So I'm curious, where is the event taking place? I know it's on March 2nd and 3rd. You said it's starting at 4 on Friday and then noon on Saturday? Awesome. So how do people attend the event? Where is this going on at?
So the event's gonna, like you said, gonna take place March 2nd at 4 p.m. in the Memorial Ballroom.
Okay.
And then Saturday we have it at noon in the Memorial Horizon Room.
Oh, okay.
And it's free for everyone. There's gonna be food, so both nights. So it's a free meal if anything else. Yeah. And it's open to anybody, like community members, anybody could attend.
Right on. Well, this sounds like a really fantastic event, and I really hope it goes well. It sounds like it's really planned out, and it's gonna be awesome. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have today, but thank you guys so much for joining us here on The Conversation. It's been amazing talking with you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for tonight. We here at The Conversation hope you have an excellent night. Thanks for tuning in.